I confess, I don't know that much about Ken Paxton. He's the guy now who's in the runoff with John Cornyn, who's like establishment Republican, capital E,
Yeah.
establishment Republican. And Cornyn's been there since 2002. But now Ken Paxton, who seems like a very colorful character and seems, notwithstanding some personal scandals, to be pretty beloved by most Republicans. He's kind of Trumpy. He's fun. He's fierce. He's a fighter. But he's in this knockdown drag out with Cornyn. And now it appears that Trump, who doesn't want to see a runoff between now, March 6th today, and the end of May, he doesn't want to see the Republican candidate get all bloodied up before they have to face this incredibly woke, annoying Democrat who just defeated Jasmine Crockett, Tallarico. He wants the GOP candidate to be a little cleaner, with not as many fist prints all over him. He seems to be getting ready to endorse. And I think a lot of people were like, okay, we get it. Until he said the person he's going to endorse is John Cornyn. And a lot of the MAGA faithful did like a whiplash, like, wait, what? Because they don't like John Cornyn, even though he's a Republican. And you are one of them. So explain to us why.
All right, so John Cornyn, because this is really mostly about John Cornyn and frankly, the United States Senate. It's not even really a Texas story, although obviously Texas is part of it. John Cornyn, I mean, everybody talks about rhinos and draining the swamp and Washington, D.C. corruption. I mean, John Cornyn is the face of all that. John Cornyn, as a Texas senator, is an amnesty guy. He's talked about it multiple times, how he wants to do an amnesty deal for illegals. After that horrible Uvalde school shooting, John Cornyn was the one who worked with Democrats to pass gun control legislation. John Cornyn has screwed over the right time and time and time again. But John Cornyn is insanely powerful. He's a very high-ranking Republican, and he keeps the swamp full. He keeps it as swampy as possible. So along comes Ken Paxton. He's currently Texas's attorney general. He's won statewide races multiple times here. He's well known. It's one of the most difficult things in the world is to primary a sitting senator because they raise so much money and they overwhelm you monetarily, as you know. So it's very rare you can do this. We have a very rare opportunity to send a message, not to John Cornyn, screw him, to the rest of the GOP that we are done tolerating you betraying us every chance. These senators, they screw us over for 4 years. And then the last 2 years, when they're getting ready to run for re-election, they act like I'm Mr. Trump guy and all those things like that. John Cornyn does this. We have an opportunity to send them a message that we're done taking that we're done taking that. And if you do that, we're going to primary you. This is an opportunity to make the rest of the useless GOP afraid to screw us over. This is an opportunity to actually drain the swamp because John Cornyn fills it up. Donald Trump ran on draining the swamp, talks about draining the swamp, talks about these things all the time. If, and he hasn't done it yet, to his credit, from my understanding, he's having hesitations now. If Donald Trump steps in and kneecaps the effort to actually drain the swamp, it will be by a mile the biggest betrayal of his base and the biggest mistake he has made in his presidency. He has some swampy loser dorks around him telling him that he should. That's why he's even getting involved at all. These people stand to make a lot of money if he gets involved and John Cornyn wins, and they're whispering in his ear that he should do this. He doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to endorse Paxton. He doesn't have to do anything. Just sit there and let us.
Yeah, he can stay out of it.
Yeah, just stay out of it. It would be the dumbest own goal at a point where he's got a lot of things he's juggling. It would be beyond belief to me that he does it, and I really hope that cooler heads prevail.
Why do the swampy loser dorks want Cornyn?
Money. John Cornyn has been there, like you said, since 2002. And John Cornyn's one of these guys who keeps a lot of pockets full in D.C. Of course, it's always taxpayer money. He finds a way to get money spread around Washington, D.C., like so many of these long-established senators do. And then miraculously, when he comes up for re-election, instead of having a normal war chest, United States Senate run's going to cost you $20, $30 million. John Cornyn had $100 million to spend on the primary alone. Why do you think they did that? Because they love his winning personality? They did that because the guy spent 20 plus years funneling money back to them, and he's going to spend the next 6 doing the exact same thing. And some people around President Trump, these political consultants who get 15% of all these ad buys, $100 million, 15% of $100 million is a lot of cheddar cheese. They stand to make a whole lot of money if John Cornyn keeps winning and keeps spending money. It's all about money and power. It's everything gross that grosses normal people out about politics is this exact race right here. And we don't need Donald Trump kneecapping the efforts of decent people who want to drain the swamp.
Now, as I understand it, the argument against Paxton is he's less likely to win in the general. There's a big dispute even among Republicans on this type of argument. You know, like Ann Coulter, she maintains that if you don't nominate the candidate who enthuses Republicans, you're going to lose. Like, it never works to go for the one who would play better with the general electorate. And there are a lot of Republicans who feel that way. Like, there's going to be a pissed off contingent in Texas if it's not Paxton, who refused to pull the lever for Cornyn, which could hurt the Republicans. But in any event, the theory behind go with Cornyn is the Texas electorate has sent him back to the Senate time and time again, and he'll be more palatable to a Texas electorate that, let's face it, over the past 10 years has gotten a little bit more purple than red.
Yeah, I've heard this argument, and it's a complete crappy argument, and I reject it all the way. First of all, I've been living in Texas for about 15 years now, a little less than that, about 15 years now. And ever since the day we walked into this state, I have been warned that Texas is turning blue and Texas is turning blue and Texas is turning blue. And not a single Democrat has won a statewide election since I got here. Texas is not turning blue. That's one. Two, that weird little fruit
That's a relief to hear, by the way.
It's not turning blue.
This is nice to hear that there's still states towing the line.
Oh, yeah. No, and not only that, we're getting redder, Megan. People talk about why we don't want Californians moving to our state and stuff like that. And with all due respect, the people who flee places like California and come to Texas, we pull all these things here in Texas. They're all Republicans. We get redder when the Republicans move into Texas. Texas isn't turning blue. That's one. Two, that fruitcake the Democrats chose to nominate, that weirdo, James Tallarico, who looks like he's never even had to shave a day in his life, that guy is not going to appeal to red-blooded Texas voters. He's on camera saying some of the kookiest, God is non-binary and things like that, saying the kookiest things in the world that are going to be all over the airwaves. My dog could beat that guy running as a Republican in Texas. That guy's not going to be elected United States Senator. I don't care who we nominate. And three, this is the go-to trick that the swamp rat rhinos use every single time there is a hardcore person who actually shares the values of the electorate. They use the exact same trick, the same line. I swear they just all have it memorized. Well, he can't win the general. Well, he's too far right to win the general. This guy's too far right to win the general. Karl Rove and these goobers have been trotting out that line for as long as I've been alive. Anybody who won't keep their pockets lined and keep the swamp swampy is too far right and won't be able to win the general. I'm so tired of hearing that crap. Any Republican who wins, Cornyn or Paxton, any Republican who wins the primary is going to be the next senator from Texas, and everybody knows it.
Think about this. In 2006, $20,000 equaled roughly 33 ounces of gold at spot price. Okay, $20,000 got you 33 ounces. At today's prices, those 33 ounces would be worth about $165,000. That would have been a very good investment. And that's why so many smart Americans do diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals. They're thinking about what's going to happen in the next 20 years. And it's also why you should consider buying gold from Birch Gold Group. For thousands of years, gold has been a store of wealth. And today, it is a crucial part of any balanced strategy. Even better, Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered retirement account in gold. All you have to do is text MK to the number 989898, and that will give you a free info kit on gold. There's no obligation. It's just useful information from which you can make a decision. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, let Birch Gold help you diversify with gold. Now that's peace of mind. Again, text MK to 989898 today. All right, now there's reports that there might be a deal in the works whereby Cornyn will be the nominee, Paxton will drop out, but Paxton could make an announcement saying, I'll drop out if you get the SAVE Act a vote on the floor of the U.S. Senate. You know, the act that would require ID and citizenship verification before people can register to vote. And Paxton, you know, if he wants a long future in Republican politics, he doesn't want to cross Trump. So it's possible, the theory goes, that he might agree to that. Now, having said that, this is what he said to Just the News and our pal John Solomon, his organization, just 2 days ago on Wednesday. Here's thought one.
And what message do you want to send to the Republican base? President Trump said he's going to make an endorsement. Whoever he does endorse should drop out. I have a funny feeling you don't drop out under any circumstance.
No, I'm staying in this race. I owe it to the people of Texas. I've spent a year of my life campaigning against John Cornyn because John has not represented the people of Texas well. He's been against Trump in both of his elections, said he shouldn't run last time, that his day had passed.
Okay, so he's saying no. And then just wanted to add this, Jesse. Okay. Trump gave an interview just by phone to Dana Bash of CNN this morning. And there was a question about whether he's about to endorse Cornyn. She reports as follows, I'm quoting, "The president says his top priority other than the war is the Save America Act, which he now wants to include trans issues, banning surgeries on kids and procedures and boys and girls sports. He told me this in response to my question about endorsing Cornyn. Quote, I'm making a decision fairly shortly, but I want, and then I feel very strongly that we have to have the full and complete Save America Act, okay? I want the Save America Act. It's more important than everything else we're working on other than the war, he told Dana Bash. Quote, I've got to have the assurance of, you have a big story here, come to think of it, but I'm just telling you, I like John Cornyn, get along with him very well, get along with both of them very well, but we have to go in with the Save America Act, which I don't, that sounds to me, Jesse, like it's along the lines of what I was just asking you. Are they cutting a deal behind the scenes where they keep Cornyn, they get a vote on Save America, they somehow, I mean, I don't know how they're going to get a vote on the Save America Act if they don't get rid of the filibuster. But in any event, and that's how the president avoids this bruising primary and gets rid of Ken Paxton by having Ken saying he did it for the good of the nation to get the Save Act a vote.
Yeah, I think Donald Trump is being very clear there. And frankly, Ken Paxton was being clear as well. Get the Save. If you want John Cornyn, I need the Save Act. It's obviously it's a political deal that's being cut. Donald Trump is not a moron, as many of the people on the left seem to think he is. He's not a moron at all. And he has heard the loud screaming from people who are his most loyal supporters over the last 48 hours at the thought of him endorsing Cornyn. So if you're going to do something unpopular, and he knows it would be extremely unpopular, Donald Trump's a very transactional man, always has been. He wants something for it. He believes the SAVE Act is necessary, and I believe it as well. It's necessary to win elections, to keep Democrats from cheating in elections. He wants the SAVE Act passed. So that's the deal. I'll back John Cornyn if you give me the SAVE Act. There is a major problem, though. You say it would involve ending the filibuster, and of course it would, but even if you ended the filibuster right now, we still can't pass the SAVE Act, and John Cornyn has no control of that whatsoever. John Cornyn is already a yes on the SAVE Act. Our problems are that loser John Curtis from Utah, the senator, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, and probably most importantly, Mitch McConnell, who just wants to screw Trump one more time on his way out the door as he gets wheelchaired around the United States Senate. The people holding up the SAVE Act, none of them are named John Cornyn at this point in time. So how's John Cornyn going to make that happen? He's not going to be able to make that happen.
I don't know. I don't understand the logic.
Well, the logic is simple. In my opinion, this is my opinion because I'm not inside the man's head and I don't have Donald Trump's cell phone number and no, Mr. President, I'm not asking for it. In my opinion, Donald Trump is asking for something he knows they can't deliver. John Thune, we know this because John Thune has admitted it. John Thune has been in Donald Trump's back pocket for a very long time, begging him to endorse John Cornyn, and Donald Trump has refused to do so. I think this is Donald Trump firing back after the last 48 hours of anger and saying, okay, you've been begging, you want John Cornyn, give me my law. I want a law passed. And if you can't do it, I think this is more about John Thune than anything else. If you can't whip the votes to pass the SAVE Act, then screw John Cornyn. He can go run on his own. In my opinion, that's what Donald Trump is doing. And if it is, I applaud him for it. Good for him.
Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.